Hey guys, so I'm gonna be sharing an experience that I had shopping at one of the most expensive stores in the world. At least in London, England, is top three most expensive places to shop in there. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is because I want to show you how the enemy may have been stealing from you over time. And just to give a bit of background, so I finished secondary school in 2013. After that, I went to Oxbridge. I did a year there, so that's 2014, and then I moved to England to school. So I'll say 2014, 2015 was when I traveled to the UK to study. And obviously, like, that was a huge opportunity for me because, I mean, at the time, like, it was a huge sacrifice for my parents to actually send their child over. It was going to be like, it was really expensive, like, not just the school fees, but not just international fees, but accommodation, feeding, like pocket money and all that stuff. Like, it was a huge deal. So obviously, like, as a child, like, you're not really interested in all that. Like, you're just like, am I going? Like, am I going to the UK to study? Am I going to live there for the next 3, 4 years? So obviously I was excited. I wasn't really interested in the sacrifice or whatever. So all I was interested in was how much are you going to be giving me every month to see if, I can ball and whatever. So I remember my dad telling me, what I can afford right now is £200 a month. I'm like, what? But obviously, like, that was what he could afford. Like, I had to live with that. But, to be honest, like, that was enough money to just read and survive. Like, because I know at the time my budget was like £30 a week on food. So obviously transportation to and fro from school. There was no extra money to do anything. Like, there was no, like, even when I'll go to the club, I'll pay £10 to get into the club and I'll not be able to buy any drink because I'm like, drink is like £5, man. That £5 is like a quarter of my budget, of my weekly budget. So, there wasn't that extra money to do anything. Like, I used to be a very fashionable person, like, but I couldn't buy extra clothes. Like, I would just be repeating clothes up and down. So I remember I would walk into Zara, walk into my favorite stores, H&M, Topman, just to imagine what having these clothes would feel like. I'd imagine myself in these clothes. I'll go window shopping, as they say, but I wouldn't be able to buy anything. And that thing, like, really hurt me, because I'm like, I wish I had like an extra, 30, 40, £50 I could use to buy this jacket or this, or this, that, So I remember there was a day when I met this guy. We started uni at the same time. We became friends. I met him, and then one of our other friends like came and started teasing him. Like, can you imagine this guy? We went to Debenhams yesterday, and he bought a Paul Smith T-shirt for like £50. And I remember I looked at the guy. I'm like, huh? Like, you bought this shirt you're wearing for £50. Like, that shirt to me, like, that shirt looked like a £5 shirt, like, even less. But he spent £50 on a shirt because it had Paul Smith on it, like, and it didn't even look like it was anything. But in my mind, I'm like, what kind of money do you have that you're able to spend £50 on a t-shirt? And then I later heard his story that, during Freshers Week, that the first week where everybody comes into uni and for the first time, his mom had given him £5,000. And that's not the crazy thing. He blew it in the first week. Like, he blew the £5,000 in the first week. And that's not even the crazy part again. When he called his mom to tell her that, oh, the money has finished though, she sent him another £5,000 that he blew in 2 weeks again. After that, I think she now put him on £500 a week or £500 a month because she was like, this guy obviously is not getting the gist of where money comes from, kind of thing. But I like the way the guy looked. Like, he always looked fresh. He always had the latest designer stuff. He just knew how to put clothes together. And obviously in my mind, I'm like, this is how I want to look. But, the account isn't really saying that much at the moment, So obviously the guy, like, I wanted to look like that, but like I said, the account wasn't this thing because at the point in my life, I was repeating, like, I think I wore one jeans for like a year. All I was doing was changing my tops. And to be honest, like, if like people who schooled in Jan will understand this because you don't really change your jeans. You just wear the same jeans. You change the jacket, you change the shirt and all that stuff. So I was there repeating clothes. My self-esteem was low because obviously like I didn't look the way I wanted to look. I started questioning myself, why can't I spend like this? Why don't I have enough money to do this, do that? I began getting discontent, for someone who was appreciative of the opportunity to school abroad. All of a sudden I'm there now and I'm taking it for granted. I'm like, whoa, I wish I had more. And it's kind of like our walk with God, the more like the first day you heard about the gospel of Christ, like you were excited, like, oh my God, I can't believe Jesus Christ did this for me. And then after that, a few years later, you're thinking, but I need this, I need that, I need that. Like we begin to take the blood for granted. So that was how I was. Like I began comparing my situation to other people's situations because, there were other people as well. They were not as rich as this other guy, but at least like they could, they could shop, they could buy certain things, for themselves and all that stuff. So I began comparing, and obviously my self-esteem was getting low. And so I eventually became like really good friends with this guy who spent like 5,000 in the first week. And so there was a day when we said, we're hungry, we wanted to eat, we went to McDonald's, ordered some food, and then after he's like, you know what, let's go into Top Man to see what they have. We get in there and this guy spends like 500 pounds on clothes. Like just he didn't plan to. He just went in there, saw that they had nice stuff, and spent 500 pounds. So I was there in the corner, I saw this jacket that I liked. It was like 40 pounds, but obviously I couldn't afford it at the time. And he looked at me, was like, dude, if you like it, you buy it, And in my mind, I'm like, bro, like the way my bank account is set up, if I buy this jacket, I'm not eating for the next 2 weeks, that guy. But he didn't get that. Like his own mindset was different. In his mind, if you like something, you buy it. But his situation wasn't like my situation, so he couldn't understand. He probably thought I was on his level, or at least I could afford something, but he didn't realize that the way the bank account was set up was a bit somehow. So I know it was maybe a few months or maybe a year later that things just changed. My dad became like the MD of one of the subsidiaries of First Bank. My mom started one business that hit big. So everything changed. Like all of a sudden, my pocket money went from 200 to like 500 pounds. My mom, it looked like she was trying to make up for all the times that she wasn't able to give us what we wanted. She was just loading. I remember there was a time she put like 2,000 pounds in my account. Like I thought somebody had frauded my account. She was like, like you don't even know, like someone was telling me to put like 3,000 in there, but I was like, you might shock him too much. I was like, don't grieve the Holy Spirit though. Hey, if that's what he put in your heart, please obey his voice right now. And she was able to give me the extra 1K. But things just changed. All of a sudden, the clothes that I once thought that I would never afford, I would go into stores, spend like 300, 400 pounds on clothes. I just like things just changed for me. All of a sudden I was looking good. My fashion style improved because I was able to afford a lot of these clothes that I couldn't afford at the time. My confidence was up. All of a sudden I was feeling, I'm here. I'm the guy now, that kind of thing. So I know it was like maybe a few months later, my parents came in to London for a few days. And the money they'd given me had finished. At this point I was just stupid. Like I was just doing anyhow. Now I could go to the club, buy champagne, all these kind of things. So anyway, they came into London for a few days, and obviously money had finished. So I'm like, if I can't see them, something must drop. Like if I like that kind of thing. Like if you can't see your parents, they're not expecting you. Say, oh, take this one to go back, that kind of thing. So I went to see them. I was like, man, I have coursework that I'm studying for. I can only come for a few hours, blah, blah, blah. So I came, chilled with them for a few hours. And then when it was time to go, my dad gave me like 400 pounds. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, nice. The plan worked. I've come to see you guys, and then I'm leaving with something. But on my way back to the station, I realized that my train had been delayed. So I began seeing people, like I saw like 2 or 3 people holding this green bag. I'm like, what's this bag everybody's holding? And it said Harrods on it. So I'm like, oh, Harrods, like I've heard of this store. Like, let me go and check it out. I have some time to spare, so let me go and check it out to see what this store is about. I knew it was like a luxury store, but I didn't know it was luxury like that. So I'm like, you know what? I have like 400 pounds. I can probably use like 250 or 200 to buy something just to get this green bag. Let me to say that I went to Harrods to shop and I bought something. So I get to the store, and this should have been the first red flag, but I ignored it. I went with my hand luggage, and at the time they were like, "Oh, you can't go into the store with your hand luggage. You have to check it in." And to check it in is going to be about £7. I remember it was like close to £10, and I'm like, that's how much I would have spent to eat food, buy KFC or buy McDonald's or something. Like £10 just to keep my bag for an hour. But I'm like, okay, no problem. At least let me go and get this red bag. Yeah, there are certain costs in life. £7, is not too bad. I kept it in there. I walked into the store. Obviously, it was amazing, like luxury, like gold. Everything there just looked expensive. And I remember I overheard like one of the cashiers talking to one of the customers, and she was like, "Oh, and that would be £20,000, sir." In my mind, I was like, "Huh?" And the guy was on the phone. He just gave her his card. It's like, yeah, okay, no problem. Like in my mind, I'm like, are you like, do they sell houses in this place? Like is that, are you paying for the down payment of your house? Like, what are you paying? Like, what kind of store is this where you can spend £20,000 like right now? Like, what are they selling right here that's worth £20,000? But in my mind, I'm like, I'm here for £200, sha. So let me look and see, if I see any jackets that I'll be like 200. I don't mind, spending that money just to, say that I've been to Harrods and I shopped there. So as I was saying all this to myself, I saw one nice velvet looking blazer in the distance. Like, I was like, oh, that looks nice. So I immediately rushed there, and it was burgundy. Oh, it was like this color actually, like, but darker. Velvet, had some nice designs on it. So, but it was high up, like it was hung on one of those racks that, like, the double rack. Obviously, I wasn't tall enough to like pick it up. So, I go to the blazer and I'm looking for the tag. I want to see what the price tag is. So I go there and then I'm looking, and then I see something that there's a tag, and I look at it and it says £120. I'm like, what? Like, deal. Like, I'm getting this. Finally, I've gotten the thing I'm going to buy. So I look around and I'm trying to see if there's anyone, like any of the people who can help me, bring this jacket down so that I can go and pay for it immediately, before somebody else sees it. But something said, check again. So in my mind, I'm like, okay. So I go again and then I'm checking, let me just be sure that it's not £1,200 that I saw, that is 120. So I check again, I see that it's 120, but then as I'm pulling the tag, I now see that this tag is connected to something else. So and also that there was a scarf round the blazer. It was a scarf that was £120. Scarf, winter scarf. As in, the scarf was thin. As in till today, I don't know how much that blazer cost, because I just dropped it. I was so pissed off. I just dropped it and walked out of the store. Because if the scarf is £120, how much is the blazer going to be? So as I walked out, I went to Zara. I remember I spent £120 buying 4 shirts. As in, the price of one scarf bought me 4 shirts, 4 quality shirts from Zara. So anyway, it wasn't up until last year that I feel like the Holy Spirit sort of reminded me of that situation. And he told me that this is the same way the enemy likes to behave. This is the same way this is the same strategy that he uses to deceive people, because he hides the real cost of our decisions by showing us a cheaper price tag. You see the blazer, you see, I want to get married. This is what marriage looks like. But then he shows you a cheaper version of it and is like, you can afford it. Just make this decision. Why don't you just sleep with him? Why don't you just do this, do that? And he's, because in your mind, you're like, I can afford this. The first time I had sex, I was like, I can afford it. I watch porn, I can afford this, because I didn't see the real price of what I was getting myself into. It's the same way a lot of you are making decisions right now thinking that there's no big deal, because the enemy has shown you a different price tag. He has shown you a price that you think you are willing to pay, but it's going to cost you more than you're willing to pay. So, he didn't show me the real price of these decisions I was going to make. He didn't show me how having sex before marriage and going through multiple heartbreaks was going to change my filter on how I was able to interpret situations. He didn't show me how decisions I was making at the time would eventually cause a delay in my marriage or make me miss out on God's plan for me. He didn't show me how making certain decisions was going to be stealing my identity from me, because a lot of decisions we make actually make us less than who we are. It steals our authenticity, our originality, and it makes us start to act like fake people, or to act like the fake versions of who we're made to be. I didn't know that these decisions, the real cost of these decisions was going to make me start comparing in my marriage. A lot of you right now, the moment you get married, you're going to be comparing your husband or your wife to your exes. These are the real costs of the decisions that we have made, that the enemy has deceived us into making, because he has deceived you into thinking that I can afford it, when he hasn't really shown you the full price of what you're actually getting into or what you're buying. But the key for me in that story was that I heard something that said, check again. And so that's why we created the Single, Healed, and Prepared for Marriage course, because we want to help you to check again. There are a lot of situations that have happened in your life that the enemy has sold you one thing, or you're expecting to buy one thing, but the enemy has sold you something different. We need to evaluate those situations so that we can begin to see where the lie is. Because remember Proverbs 6:30, and I've quoted this a lot. Proverbs 6:30 says, excuses might be found for a thief who steals because he's starving, but if he is caught, he must pay back 7 times what he stole, even if he has to sell everything in his house. You see, the first thing you need to do is to catch him. And we've created some worksheets that will help you, answer certain questions that will help you catch him, to say, wow, you stole me bad goods, and now because you have been caught, you have to repay back 7 times what you have stolen. So a lot of you've gone through certain moments in your life. Maybe it's abuse, maybe it's a heartbreak, maybe your parents getting a divorce, maybe like there are defining moments that have shaped us into who we are right now. There are choices that we've made, there are people that we've met that have changed how we see ourselves and created a different version of who we are. Until you're able to evaluate those situations, you will keep repeating the same mistakes in your relationships and think that you're actually progressing while you're actually regressing. So the description is in the link to the course is in the description below. Make sure that you sign up to access the free trial. The free trial comes with assessments that you can do, and then if you want to get the full course, you can get access to the full course. It's $5 a month, and you can cancel it at any time. So you can literally get the full course for $5, go through it within a month, and cancel it after. We're going to be sharing exclusive content in there. We're going to be having group coaching sessions. You definitely want to do this, because look, the reason why I couldn't buy that blazer was because it cost too much. But guess what? If I wanted it, I would have had to work harder in order for me to get it. You see, if you're going to get the marriage of your dreams, there's certain things that you need to do. There's certain work that you need to do. It's going to be expensive, but we've made it available and accessible for you to do the hard stuff in an easy way. We've done the hard work for you. The assessments, they're hard, but we've done it like all you need to do is just click and get your response. The questions are there. All you need to do is just meditate and evaluate them and have a quiet time so that you can recollect these things and begin to recover what the enemy has stolen from you. It's hard, but we've made it easy for you. You need to make a decision where your future self will thank you right now for making certain decisions. Is what has happened and what has changed my marital situation. The enemy stole from me years ago through certain moments that happened, so through certain decisions that I made. But the moment I was able to catch him, he had to repay back 7 times what he had stolen, and now I'm experiencing marriage, like I'm experiencing heaven on earth in my marriage. So if you want to experience the same thing, you want to remove the delay that is currently holding you bound, or you want to get free from the captivity that the enemy has put you in, because the word says that when you know the truth will set you free. We need to help you know the truth so that you can be free to do what God wants you to do. So remember, the link is in the bio, is in the description. Check it out. Single, healed, and prepared for marriage.